Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com.
Hi everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Silik and we've got a great show in store for you this week, and we're going to focus on bass fishing. Jordan takes us to the eastern end of the Upper Peninsula to chase after bass there, and Jimmy's got another adventure in store for us this week.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have another bass fishing story on this week's show. I was recently able to tag along on a middle school and high school bass fishing tournament over here in West Michigan. You won't want to miss that. Some really cool footage there. We're also going to have time for a really good perch recipe as well, so make sure you stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Green Mark Equipment. Green Mark Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. Green Mark provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com. By Angler Quest Pontoons. Angler Quest is a Michigan-based company building boats designed for comfort and fishing functionality. For more information about the 2022 models, anglerquestpontoons.com. By Polar Craft Boats, offering riveted and welded boats for the outdoor enthusiast. Whether you're targeting fish or waterfowl, Polar Craft Boats have several models to choose from that keep you high and dry. For more information, polarcraft.com.
For this week's show, I was in one of my favorite spots in the entire state, the Eastern UP, just outside of the town of Cedarville, where I'd be tagging along with good friends of the show, Jeff and Greg Lipple, for a day of bass fishing. Our trip started with a quick lunch at a restaurant just off of the water, and afterwards we headed out, hoping to catch a few fish.
Okay. Man, he's like, that thing barely hit the water.
I was gonna say, it looks like you just cast and hit it.
He's way scrappier than I would have expected a bass of etc. size to be. Look at that. What a beaut. Look at there. We are in Cedarville, Lachino Islands area, doing some fly fishing for smallies and largemouth. That's kind of the plan, at least. We'll take whatever hits, but that's the game plan. We got one on the board.
There we
go
go
from there.
How's the fishing been at the lake?
It's been good. For all our mayflies and everything else, the bass fishing has stayed pretty consistent, good enough, and good to have enough to have fun on a fly rod for sure. I spooked him. Oh, here he is.
Nice.
A little better one. Dang, this sucker was fired up. How many times did he do that? Fired up, man. Get him back on the reel. A little better one.
We started catching fish almost immediately, and as we drifted along, I asked Greg to explain his setup for targeting bass this time of year.
Pretty straightforward. Weight forward floating line is what I like most of the time, and I like using really small stuff, kind of my thought on that is, and I'm not even very particular on what type of fly, it just kind of depends. This time of year when the mayflies and stuff are hatching, I like using something brown or orange. It doesn't seem to matter a whole lot, but as long as it's smaller than a standard lure they're seeing every morning and every afternoon, seems to be pretty darn effective, as it has been today. Got him. Sweet. Still not a huge one, but it's a little better. Kind of seems like they're still like, I don't know if it's fully a post spawn, but they're definitely still a lot of fish on beds and defending their beds, so there's definitely still in it right now for sure. There's a lot of fish that have already moved off. It seems like there's mostly small fish now, but kind of still seems like they're sort of still doing their thing for this time of year in this part of the state. Right around the pike opener, May 15th for here, is like you can get a ton of the pre-spawn, you know, like 10, 20 fish days of big fish, eating crankbaits and stick baits like you do, you know, most other places, jerk baits. And then it kind of progresses into, you get closer to June and they all move onto the beds. And again, like I was saying, there's so much different water here. You'll get fish that are pre-spawn, post-spawn, middle of spawn, kind of all at the same, within the same week in this whole area, just depending on where the relation is to the big lake and the water temperatures and everything else. But there's kind of, you know, long period that you can have a lot of different good techniques for them. Probably the best one we've had so far.
Yeah, he didn't slow down once. He was fighting good the whole way in. Oof.
This part of the state is home to a very diverse fishery where you can catch several different species of fish in a relatively small area. And that's one of the reasons why these two love to fish here.
There's just a whole lot of different opportunities. If you want to get back in bays, real shallow stuff like reeds, you can go into some deeper areas with real cold water. And you got all sorts of different species. So if you look on a map, where we're at is north end of Lake Huron. So whether you want to just go on the other side of the island here, be fishing over 100 feet of water, lake trout, salmon, steelhead, or you want to come in on side of these bays and channels and fish 5 feet of water, 20 feet of water, 15, you got a great variety. Weed beds, reeds, rocky points, sandy areas. There's just a huge variety because there's a mix of islands that break up this northern end of Lake Huron, providing it spots like inland lakes, and it's just kind of endless. You know, maybe 4 miles, you can just kind of continue to go in one bay over, one channel over, depending on what you're looking into. If you want to target something like pike, all sorts of great pike spots. If you want to target bass, or if you just want to get out there and have fun and just cast some lures or put a worm and bobber and get into perch and panfish, there's just fish throughout here, so it's a fun area to explore. It's a little bit harder to figure out than maybe some regular inland waters, but just a lot of opportunity and almost endless water because you're really fishing Lake Huron, just broken up by a series of islands. Yeah, so it's cool. We've got real clear water back here. There's a little bit of a ripple on the water, but you can see enough just to pick out the dark beds. And Greg had spotted a nice bass sitting on a bed, so we started casting over towards it. And there's enough ripple where I couldn't really see my lure, but we could see it darting around and know that it was real interested. So just a few casts, and there was just enough of them where he finally got fed up and hit it hard and put on a nice fight. So it's fun when you get to see him and kind of hunt around for him like this. Got him.
Got him?
Yep.
Yes, you do got him.
Ooh, he's angry.
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah. Looks like a nice one. Staying down.
Running back and forth, pulling.
Maybe get us out of these reeds because I don't want that to happen. There he's out. Kinda. There we go. Crazy. Okay.
You won't. Keeps on changing. Nice net.
Another better one. Probably our best one right there.
Well, it was just another one that was super aggressive. It was fun. Greg spotted it. We're back in this bay where it's pretty sandy, so those dark beds stand out. And then you just start casting to them and see if you start seeing anything moving. And sure enough, we spotted a bass, and he's cruising around.
Yeah, that sucker was eating.
And the nice thing with that one is it seemed like it spooked out, like we were a little worried about how close we were getting, but it almost like it would spook out and come right back in that bed, or
almost instantly.
it'd spook out and you'd cast and it'd dart right at the lure. So took me a few casts to get him to commit. Actually, one time it hit it really hard and pretty much pulled the tail off my lure. So we knew it was aggressive. It was just a matter of getting a good hook set on it, and finally hooked up with it and fought good and pulled hard, and it was a lot of fun to land.
Made it happen. Fired up. Little cutie. Looky there. I don't know how many we've caught this size. Numerous. He's still stinking feisty though. That was sweet.
We almost had a double. Been consistent. We haven't had any slow spots. That's what's been fun about it too. The bass just, you just keep on moving until you find them. So it's not like,
Right.
oh, the fishing's really slow or really good or bad. It's just like
Could be happening somewhere.
cruising around, finding out where they're hanging out.
We caught fish pretty much everywhere we went, making for a great day on the water in a beautiful corner of our state. Special thanks to Greg and Jeff for letting me tag along on a fun day of fishing here in the UP.
Well, as you can see, Jordan had a lot of fun over there in the east end of the Upper Peninsula. We do have a few more UP stories coming over the next several weeks. But since he was up there chasing bass, and I figured I'd stay closer to home and not spend quite as much money on gas, I found a really cool middle school and high school bass fishing tournament happening right here in West Michigan.
Bass tournaments are quite a thing all over this great state. And when I heard about one aimed at middle school and high school kids, well, I needed to check it out. We were in Grand Haven a week or so back for one really cool event.
So tonight we have the Shoreline Bass Tour High School and Middle School Tournament here on the Grand River, taken out of Harbor Island. This is our third event in a series of 5 tournaments plus a classic. So we've already competed on White Lake, we've competed on Muskegon Lake, and now we're here on the Grand River. So tonight's expectation is about 50 boats. We've been averaging 30 boats in the high school division, about 20 boats in the middle school division. So they're going to go out there and try to capture those bass and have a winner at the end of the night.
Once we got the 50 or so boats in the water, the strategy began of who was going to go where. This area on the Grand River has lots of options when it comes to bass fishing.
Well, right now we're in the No Wake into Spring Lake. We're going to go fish some docks for the Thursday nighter. We're pretty excited. Got my boy Carson and Owen here. These guys are fishing the middle school division for the Shoreline Bass Tour Thursday night bite. We got about 200 yards and we'll be through the No Wake and we'll be on plane and heading for dock number 1. So hopefully these guys can put some fish in the box so we can get some good footage for good TV.
Now, do they tell you where they want to fish, or how does that work?
It's generally up to them. I mean, we can coach them a little bit, but it's mainly their stuff. We'll kind of work through a plan. Most of the coaching and spot checking, things like that, are done during practice generally. So, you know, it's a little more lenient tournament, but we really want it to be them that does the work. It's their tournament. I'm just here to keep them alive and get them to where they need to go.
Carson Tiedoff and Owen Chittenden were the anglers tonight, and once we found some good-looking docks, we were into the fish pretty quickly.
Got him that time, that's big.
That's you, man. That's you. Boat flip.
Yep, I will. That's a good one. Nice. I think I gave you a couple tries. Yeah. Only took them 3 times.
Walk back up front, maybe.
Decent bass.
The boys can weigh in 5 fish, and they all have to be at least 14 inches, so we threw quite a few back tonight for sure. I asked Ron to fill me in on how this high school team got started.
2014 was our first season, and we just started with 3 anglers that year just to make it a an affiliate and under Michigan Bass Nation, and we're now at almost 40 members, so it's definitely grown. There's a lot of other schools that are contributing now, as we spoke earlier. It's a big thing. It's definitely growing in the state of Michigan, and it's really deep down south. Michigan Bass Nation's been around for a long time. It's done a lot. There's an adult circuit as well. Brett Straffen's the current tournament director, or the Michigan Bass Nation youth director, and this is his final year, unfortunately. And he's done a really great job with the program, and it's probably tripled in the last 6 years, 5 or 6 years. I'm not even sure, we'll have over 100 teams for sure that are competing in all different facets of the sport. SPI, which is Sports Persons Ministries International, they have a kind of a preseason paper tournament, so to speak. They have a series of 3 tournaments. This year they were on Muskegon, Gun Lake, and the Grand River, and he had, I think, like 80-some boats, so that was definitely probably doubled since last year, and there will be even more teams next year. So it's definitely big. Boaters is always a struggle, boaters and funding and things of that nature. So if anyone out there has a boat and can take a couple kids around, and you really learn a lot. It's a great experience. They make a lot of great friends and a lot of camaraderie to be had.
Okay, hold on to them good and tight there. That's good.
Middle school has been around through Michigan Bass Nation, the state championship, but for Grand Haven, this is the first year. We kicked it off February 2 of this year. We finally got through to White Pines and some of the other ones, and yeah, we now have, I think, probably 25 anglers that are middle school, and it's growing every week. So next year will even be bigger. There's many different tournament circuits. You'll hear different names like Sports Persons Ministries International. There's Michigan Bass Nation. Go on to MichiganBassNationYouth.com, I believe it is. There's TBF, the Bass Federation. There's all different circuits. Just kind of Google bass fishing tournaments or bass fishing high school, and there'll be several of them come up. This just happens to be a Shoreline Bass Tour Thursday night tournament circuit, and they do points for the year based on how you finish at each event. They will do an angler or team of the year, and then each tournament they have, biggest 5 down to the top 5 with a big bass. They do, I'm not sure if they do trophies, but they do cash prizes, and there's sponsor donation prizes that will be handed out at the tournament. So
We didn't set the world on fire tonight, but the action was steady. We had a couple decent fish, and we only needed a few more for a nice box.
Nice fish.
Oh boy, he hooked good.
He wasn't coming off.
Let's hold up that guy. Look at this guy up here in the front of the boat.
Well, we're doing good. We just boated our 5th fish, and so we do have a limit. We got one that's kind of a squeaker, as we call it. It just measures 14, so we're going to take it in, see if it has changed at all. But we've got to leave here in just a little bit. We've only got 30 minutes to get back to the launch. There's probably about a 20-minute idle, so we're almost done. We're going to go see how we shook out. They got four really good fish in that one squeaker. So
quite a few tonight.
Proud of these guys for sure, and they're in the middle school division, so we'll see how this shakes out. There'd be a few lucky kids out there, but as long as there ain't 20 lucky kids.
We started our journey back, which did have a fair amount of no-wake area, so it was a slow ride back. But waiting at the docks were a lot of family and friends. It was a really cool event.
Well, hopefully we'll be holding the biggest bag, but we'll go in, we'll take the boat out of the water, we'll do our check-in, we'll go up and get a weigh-in bag, and we'll put our fish in a bag, bring them up to the scales, and weigh them in and see how we stack up amongst the other middle school teams.
So middle school is obviously against the other middle schools, and high schools versus high schools.
Yep, high schools in their own division, middle schools in their own division. So
Our team took second place overall in the middle school division and also had the big bass for the middle school division. What a very cool event. With a couple hundred people there at the weigh-in, it was a night to remember, and hopefully events like this will keep these kids coming back to the water here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, hey, we are here once again at Antlers Fireside Grill. We're outside of Big Rapids in the Canadian Lakes area here with Jim Wood, and we are going to do one of my favorite things to try is perch. And so always looking for a new recipe. Jim, what are we going to do here today?
We're going to use a batter that we've done in the past with the perch stuffed mushrooms, and we're going to fry it, and then we're going to toss it in sweet chili mayo. So almost kind of a play on fish and tartar sauce.
Okay, a little spicy.
It's got a little bit of spice to it. It's more sweet than it is spicy.
Okay. Well, now do this batter again, because I remember the first time you did it, it was pretty simple and it's really, really light.
It's light.
Okay.
Yep.
So how do we start with this?
So we start with some cold soda water.
And what is soda water? How's that? Just because it's carbonated, or?
Yeah, it's got carbonation.
Okay.
Effervescence.
Nice.
Yep.
Big word.
Yeah, I learned that one in
And
culinary
that
school.
is?
This is whipped egg yolks and whites, so it's whipped eggs, basically.
Okay.
Now whisk that together. And the more you whisk it, the lighter it's going to get, because as you see, you're creating bubbles. So you're whipping air into this. All right, then we've got some salt, baking powder,
And then cake
and your
batter.
cake flour.
Cake flour.
Cake
Sorry.
batter, I think, is an ice cream. That's one of my faves.
Nice.
So we're going to whisk that all up. As you can see, it's really frothy.
Yep.
And not nearly as thick as a regular batter.
Okay.
A lot of batters you'll see almost like a pancake consistency, which is not really my deal.
Okay.
So that's the batter. All right, so now we're going to make the sauce. Here we've got a little bit of mayonnaise. We're going to add some soy sauce to it. Whisk that up.
A lot of whisking in your stuff.
Yes, big fan of whisking. So it's not, this isn't going to be as thick as a traditional tartar sauce.
Okay.
And then we've got some sweet Asian chili sauce here.
Asian chili sauce. Now, how hot is that?
It's not hot at all.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you wanted it to be hot, you could add something like sriracha.
Okay. So depending on how hot you like it.
Yep. And if you've ever been to, say, some corporate Asian American restaurants that serve something called bang bang shrimp, this is kind of a play on that.
Oh, okay.
So. All right, that's our sauce.
Easy. So now we deep fry the fish.
Now we're gonna deep fry the fish.
To fry the fish, simply dredge the fillets in cake flour and put them into the batter. Next, they're ready for the deep fryer and should only take a couple of minutes to finish.
Okay, so we're done frying here.
Yep, we got these light, crisp, tender morsels of
Well, those did puff up quite a bit,
greatness. They do. We're gonna hit them with a little bit of salt.
Okay.
And then we're gonna take some of our sauce, kind of drizzle it on there.
Okay.
And then we're just gonna toss these around. And you take them with the sauce, just put them in this serving vessel.
And the name of this is?
Tempura fried perch with sweet Asian mayo.
Thanks so much for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you stick around in upcoming weeks. There's a lot of great things headed your way. We'll take you out for some big water adventures on the Great Lakes, and we'll show you a couple of places that you can take the family to visit here in Michigan while on vacation. If you'd like to see where we are and where we're headed next, you can always check us out online.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Online is a good way to kind of keep tabs on us. You can do that through our website, our different social media platforms, as well as YouTube. So lots of places you can be checking us out. And make sure you are joining us over the next several weeks. Lots of brand new stuff coming your way. And if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
By Alta Equipment Company, providing sales, rentals, service, and parts because uptime matters. From earth moving to landscaping and light construction, Alta offers over 50 brands across 7 Michigan locations to serve you. More information online or 844-GO-2-ALTA. By Angler Quest Pontoons. Angler Quest is a Michigan-based company building boats designed for comfort and fishing functionality. For more information about the 2022 models, anglerquestpontoons.com. By Polar Craft Boats, offering riveted and welded boats for the outdoor enthusiast. Whether you're targeting fish or waterfowl, Polar Craft Boats have several models to choose from that keep you high and dry. For more information, polarcraft.com.
Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, east to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above,